Local Justice, presented by Elrod Bobe Law Firm, serving our community since 1980. Here's your host, attorney Ben Leader.
Welcome to Local Justice. Today I'm joined by a friend and colleague that I've known for over 15 years, Trent Womble, a real estate attorney and a commercial attorney with Morton Gettys Law Firm here in Rock Hill. Trent and I were law school classmates together at Campbell Law School, and during that time period we spent 3 years in Raleigh together and somehow both found our way back to the York County area. Trent has continued to stay involved at Campbell Law School and has even served as an adjunct professor there. And since our time in Raleigh, his practice has grown significantly, and he was recently named a partner at Morton Gettys Law Firm, which is a very well-known and very reputable law firm here in Rock Hill. And so today we're going to pull back the curtain on what commercial real estate attorneys like Trent actually do on a day-to-day basis. We'll talk a little bit about business and commercial transactions, and we'll end with something Trent is especially passionate about, mentorship and mindset. So Trent, thanks for your time today. Thank you for being a guest on Local Justice.
Thanks, Ben. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself personally, your family, kind of your background, and let's talk about what led you to the path of law school.
Yeah, sure. So, born in Raleigh, grew up in Cary, diehard Tar Heel, got every excuse to wear Carolina blue, still kind of celebrating the Duke win from this past weekend, but kind of found my path to law school through just being mentored by my stepdad, who's also an attorney. I was doing well in school when I was in college and kind of lost and didn't know where I wanted to go, was exploring a number of different paths, and he set me down, one day and told me that he thought, I was good at writing, good with communicating, and I should really give law school a look. So come junior, senior year, I sent out the applications, and that's how I kind of ended up at Campbell, and the rest is history.
That's right, and we actually ended up in the same section as 1L, so that meant we spent every class together for really about 3 years, throughout the entire time. And, I had a great experience at Campbell. I'm sure you did as well. Tell us a little bit about Campbell Law.
Yeah, I did. I am the type of person that I really thrive in structure. And so, even taking it back to high school, I always played sports and was involved in student council. So having that structure of getting up, going to school, having a practice, getting homework done, I really kind of thrive in that environment. And in college, it was a little bit too much free time in a sense, which might sound crazy to some people. But when I got into law school and fell into the structure and the reading and the kind of rigorous preparation that went into preparing for class each day, I really thrived in that. I found that I enjoyed that structure a lot.
That's great. And, Campbell, what appealed to me the most about it is I'm a big data numbers guy. And when I'm looking at all the law schools I was interested in, their bar passage rate was, well above 90%. And some of the other schools I was looking at had mid-50s, 60s, 70s. And just from a pure numbers standpoint, I felt like it was going to be a great path to ultimately pass the bar and get licensed. And I think it very much was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so I know a lot of what you've done outside of your role as an attorney has been to mentor young law students on the bar process and the bar prep process. Tell us a little bit about those efforts.
Yeah, so Professor Shay Hines Glick she used to be the leader of the academic success department at Campbell. And so after law school, I got plugged in with her as a bar essay grader, helping recent law grads prepare for the bar exam. At the time, it was just North Carolina. That grew into a position as an adjunct professor that Campbell started offering a class, mostly to 3Ls, to help them prepare for the bar. And so just over the years, I've got had a lot of reps and a lot of experience working with a number of students going through that kind of stressful journey to taking the bar exam and then ultimately getting to the goal of becoming licensed.
And you've taught it and you've mentored students going through it, but you've also lived it, I think, 3 times now?
That's right, yep. So I'm a glutton for punishment. I took North Carolina in 2013. Fast forward to 2017, my employer asked me to sit for South Carolina, which was on the UBE format, the Uniform Bar Exam format. And then Morton Gettys, most recently in 2023, when I joined their team practicing commercial real estate, they asked me to sit for the Florida bar. And at that point, I had done it twice and figured I had enough skills to get one more, and thankfully was successful all 3 times.
Kudos to you. Florida, I know, is one of the harder bars in the entire country to pass, and to have to go back and do that again 10 years after law school is also, I think, a whole new set of challenges, while raising a family and having a job too. So that's great.
That's right. Yep.
Well, tell us, for the viewers who may not be familiar with you, tell us about your practice at Morton Gettys and what type of cases you work on there.
Yeah, so we help individuals and businesses with all of their commercial real estate needs. So that might look like helping a business owner here in Rock Hill buy an office building, helping landlords and tenants with lease agreements, helping someone set up an LLC so they can get their startup off the ground. And then we also work with a lot of individuals buying and selling apartment complexes all throughout the Southeast. So it's something different every day.
And I believe prior to being with Morton Gettys, you also did some residential real estate work, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So for about 5 years, I was a residential real estate attorney, which basically means I was helping folks buy and sell homes as their primary residence, as well as refinances. So I would classify residential real estate as that kind of limited section of real estate, and then commercial real estate can really be defined as everything else.
That's great. And we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors right now, but I want to dive right back into the commercial real estate side of things when we return. So thanks for your time, and thank you to the viewers for joining us. We'll be right back with more local justice with Trent Womble here in a minute.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not gonna have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Being there for someone in their time of need is what Green Funeral Home has done compassionately for 4 generations. It's a privilege we take very seriously.
We believe each life should be honored and remembered by family and friends. Whether you choose traditional burial in our chapel or another venue, or cremation provided by our on-site crematory, we will help guide you through each step to ensure your needs are met.
We are also available to discuss pre-planning. Peace of mind that you have helped your loved one by making those difficult decisions.
When the need arises, our family is here for your family.
When a bank gets a new customer, they email a bunch of links and say good luck. But that's not us. A community banker sees this as the start of a new relationship, so we come to your office and bring a team of business specialists. Then we train your staff in all the tools they need to be successful. Bottom line, a community banker is in the trenches with your business every step of the way. I'm Catherine Faircloth, and I'd love to be your first community banker.
Live Strong at the YMCA is a lifesaver for so many people.
I love Live Strong because you meet so many people, you learn how strong you can be physically and mentally.
The camaraderie and the closeness that you feel and come together as a group is just amazing.
We meet them where they are and we work with them to help them get stronger.
At the YMCA of Upper Palmetto, we are proud to offer our community the support of the Live Strong program to all cancer survivors. For more information, visit your local branch.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm attorney Ben Leader with the Elrod Pope Law Firm, and today I'm honored to have a friend and classmate of mine with us, Trent Womble from Morton Gettys Law Firm. Trent, thanks again for joining us today.
Yeah, of course, Ben.
Want to dive right back into your role as a commercial real estate attorney with Morton Gettys and talk a little bit about kind of the behind the scenes of what a day-to-day looks like there. I think a lot of people meet their real estate attorney, sometimes even late in the process at the closing, but they might not necessarily be privy to everything that happens in the weeks and months, leading up to that. So tell us what happens, before that day that most clients don't see.
Yeah, well, truthfully, there's usually a lot that goes into a real estate transaction even before I get involved. Usually parties got a broker that's involved searching for the property, which can take some time, especially with commercial real estate. They might be looking for an office in a specific area of town. Buyers are usually involved in searching for the property online. Once the buyer and seller, kind of get on the same page and a property is identified, there's usually this exchange of business terms that is kind of memorialized in this document called a letter of intent. So it gives you the purchase price, the timelines, the deposit, any other special terms. And then once that letter of intent has been signed, that's usually when the attorneys will get involved. So we'll take that document, we'll negotiate and put the purchase and sale agreement together. We'll order the title work. Once the contract is signed, the buyer's usually going to conduct some type of due diligence, which we'll supervise. So they're going to be ordering environmental reports, and maybe ordering a zoning report, a survey. All those due diligence documents have to be reviewed and signed off on, as well as the title work. Get the seller docs reviewed, the lender docs reviewed, and then once everything is signed off on, then we're scheduling that appointment for closing.
That's great, and I guess the ultimate goal is to have a successful closing, but also to understand all the risk that may be involved and discovered throughout that process.
Of course, and every client's different. Some clients would like to have their hand held a little bit and explain everything along the way. Other clients just kind of want to know that everything's taken care of, and so we try to tailor everything according to what the client needs for that particular deal.
And with the residential side of things versus commercial, from a big picture standpoint, it sounds like the process works, almost the same. It's just, I imagine the commercial side has a lot more complexity to it, probably a lot more risk involved in it. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's definitely accurate. I would say that the main thing, at least in the Carolinas, that's different about residential real estate is that your residential realtors are going to handle a lot more of the transaction. So there are broker-approved realtor forms that realtors will use, and they'll sign the contracts, they'll handle the amendments for the most part, filling in the blanks of those templates. And the residential attorney's role is a little bit more limited. They're just doing title review as well as handling the closing and dispersing the funds. But for a commercial deal, the attorney's scope is typically much broader.
I hear you. And so when it comes to the attorney's role, when you're dealing with larger amounts of money, multiple stakeholders being involved, I imagine you have to deal with some large out-of-state investors. Is it just higher stakes with those types of deals, higher pressure involved?
Yeah, typically there's a higher level of complexity. As you mentioned, there are likely more parties involved. You've probably got a separate attorney for seller and buyer. The lender often has their own attorney. There may be a qualified intermediary if one of the parties is doing a 1031 exchange. You might have a title company that's in an office in a different state. And then, as you mentioned, for commercial especially, but just real estate as a whole, more and more closings are being done remotely. So you may have, buyer in one state and seller in another state.
Well, I think it's pretty neat that you get to deal with everything from these large, massive scale transactions to, simply helping somebody here in York County purchase another, building for their office. You get to deal with a little bit of everybody in your line of work.
Yeah, it's it actually is one of the greatest benefits about Morton Gettys and just the size of our firm. Because if I was at a larger firm, I would imagine I would only be working on those massive transactions. But it really is kind of the perfect blend of work and type of client, because I do work on complex transactions, but then we also work on simple home sales with people that are in my community.
And I see a lot of statistics, especially lately, about just the growth in South Carolina in general, and the national home builders, just flooding South Carolina. Do you think a lot of the growth we've seen here in York County has really fueled a lot of your growth as, practicing commercial attorney?
I really think it has. Yeah, I think that that's just a blessing that I ended up in. It was in Charlotte in 2015, and then we moved to Fort Mill in 2018. But yeah, I mean, real estate is hyper local in a lot of senses, and so I've just been very blessed to be a part of the growth of York County, and then to also have some clients in other markets. Brunswick County, North Carolina comes to mind. We've got some clients there, and that area continues to be just at the top of the list of most desirable places to move, not just in the Carolinas, but in the entire country.
That's great. Well, you've got a versatile practice, and you're able to help people really all over the country, which is very unique. We're going to take another quick break from our sponsors again, and then we'll be right back with the final segment. So thank you for your time, and thank you to the viewers for tuning in. We'll be right back with more local justice.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
When a catastrophe hits, it can be a very stressful time for you. When you have trees on your house, when you have trees on your cars, and you don't know what to do, you call us.
We're not a 1-800 number, we're an 803 number. We've been in business for over 60 years because we take care of our clients. That means taking care of them during claim situations.
We're not 9 to 5, we're 24/7. We're gonna be there when you need us most. Gill Insurance, your local auto owner's agent. Understanding business is how we do business.
When it comes to prescription medications and health needs, Rock Hill residents have been turning to Good Pharmacy for over 50 years.
I've been coming to Good Pharmacy since we came to Rock Hill in 1984, and I would not change pharmacists for anything.
With their knowledgeable staff, you can always trust that your prescription will be filled with complete confidence and care for your health. Good Pharmacy, conveniently located at the corner of Ebenezer Road and Camden Avenue.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the oh, I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
Hi, I'm John Warden with Champion Services. If you're considering remodeling or making repairs to your home due to storm damage, here's a few things to ponder. A lot of folks have come in town promising a lot of things about we've been here for a long period of time, only to be found faults. Choosing the right contractor is extremely important. Here at Champion Services, our goal is one thing, it's customer satisfaction. And that's just not a sentence, that's a fact. Let me say it's been a joy to serve you for over 30 years. This message is brought to you by Champion Services and CN2.
Welcome back to Local Justice. I'm attorney Ben Leader, and today I'm here with attorney Trent Womble of the Morton Gettys firm. Trent, thanks again for your time today. Of course. One of the things I appreciate about you is we're very much in similar phases of life. We both got young children. I think you've got 3 children, is that right?
That's right, 3 boys.
What are the ages again?
9, 6, and the youngest will be 5 next month.
That's right, and I know you were really into sports growing up, and now you're seeing that next generation follow your lead and doing travel ball and staying busy on the weekends.
That's right, yeah. It's a big part of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right, and I know you're happily married and y'all reside in Fort Mill, is that right?
That's right, yep.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about, the local connection and why it's important to you to be able to serve people in this community.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to trust and just being recognized in the community. So at Morton Gettys, we think it's really important for all of the attorneys to be involved in the community in some way, whether that's serving on a board or being involved at church. And it just it goes a long way for me to have existing relationships with folks that I go to church with, or kids that I coach in Fort Mill rec ball, and then for them to have a legal need come up and they already know me as an attorney in the community, and then they can ask me their questions, and then maybe we get some business out of it. But it's been really great to have those organic relationships kind of just come up and then lead to business opportunities as well.
Absolutely, and you've got such a great line of mentors ahead of you that have showed the path on that. People like Elizabeth Owen that are very involved in the community. John Gettys, obviously.
Of course.
You've got a lot of good mentors to look up to, and that's one of the things I appreciate about y'all's firm so much, is that you are out and about in the community. Y'all are serving in board roles. Heath Myers with the hospice board. I see your firm everywhere in the community, and that's what we strive to be too. And I think in today's world there are a lot of law firms out there that don't have a boots on the ground presence. Some of them don't even have attorneys here, and they want to be the biggest law firm in the world, but they don't want to support the community that supports them. And so I appreciate how important that is to you, and the fact that you do want to give back and support the same community that supports Morton Gettys. And I think that's a huge part of why you and your firm is so successful.
Oh, we really appreciate that. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
And so back to kind of the business side of things, I know, as kind of a side effect of commercial real estate transactions, there's also a lot of business law needs that arise with that. Tell us a little bit about what you do for people on kind of the business side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So oftentimes when someone's buying real estate, we'll also be asked to set up the entity that's going to take title to that piece of real estate. And that's typically a limited liability company, and it is what it sounds like. It is just to limit the real estate owner's liability when they're holding that asset. So most buyers have other assets, and you don't want to expose everything else that you own to a potential lawsuit involving just one piece of property. So an easy way to kind of mitigate that risk is to have the buyer set up a LLC, and the LLC will own the property instead of owning it in the buyer's individual name.
And as a closing attorney, what are some of the common issues you see that may ultimately delay or even disrupt the closing process and prevent a successful closing?
Yeah, so it could be any number of things. So we always try to get as much information about the transaction on the front end as possible, just so that we can be armed with every possible scenario that might come up. A couple of things that we'd like to know in advance is if the buyer or seller is conducting a 1031 exchange. So that is a tax-deferred exchange whereby a seller can defer the tax they're going to pay on the proceeds from the real estate by having it go to a qualified intermediary, and then they take those funds and use it to buy another piece of property. It's called a 1031 exchange again, and it's so the seller can defer the gains they're going to pay on that sale. It's something that we deal with often. It's just it's beneficial if we know about it in advance. Another example is if the buyer is going to be taking title to the property with a different entity other than what's named in the purchase contract. Something we deal with all the time, but if it comes up, the day of closing, something that we, have to scramble a little bit to get the job done.
That's right, and I mean, you can't substitute the experience that your firm has had and the things y'all have seen over the years, and that's why it's so important to have an experienced attorney involved in that process, is to make sure that due diligence is being done and no stones being unturned, and I know that's a lot of what y'all do.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And one of the other things that I think is important that kind of is behind the scenes is how much of a team is involved in the process. The attorney, like yourself, is obviously very present throughout the process, but there's also a team under you that helps keep all the boats rowing in the same direction. Tell us a little bit about the team involved and how Morton & Gettys has such a team first mentality.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that I've found is unique in terms of practice areas, and other attorneys are sometimes surprised to hear how collaborative real estate can be. So our commercial real estate department is 4 partners and then 3 paralegals, and our team is just world class, and there's a lot of collaboration between the partners and between the paralegals, And again, it really is just, I think it's surprising to other practice areas where an attorney may be able to operate in a silo, and there's a lot of my function that I would not be able to do effectively if it was all just me. So very thankful for that collaborative team first approach.
That's right, and the logistics of just how wide-ranging your practice is, the people that you're dealing with from all over the country. I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, so kudos to you and your team for being able to execute everything. Trent, I think this has been a great conversation. I'm glad that the viewers were able to get to meet you and hear a little bit more about your practice. I also think it was very educational and a good reminder of, why it is so critical to have a good closing attorney, involved in the process. So thank you for your time, and congratulations again on being named a partner at Morton Gettys. Look forward to continuing to see you around the York County Bar for many years to come.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to the viewers for tuning in with another episode of Local Justice, and thanks to Trent Womble for joining us today. We'll see you next time, and stay safe out there.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Kidney disease is becoming more and more prevalent, especially with diabetes and hypertension. My training with kidney disease helps me to talk to patients and guide them through the steps that they can take, the changes that they can make into their lifestyles. And we have a dedicated team of providers, including dietitians and pharmacists that we work with to educate patients towards achieving that.
We know the type. You like to start early, finish late, make lemon squares, and make payments to the college fund from anywhere in the house. We know you rely on Comporium for the things you rely on most, like a view of the backyard. That's just a bunny, and hundreds of channels to watch, whenever you want. So you may think of us as just your internet company, but we're more like the I didn't know they could do all that company. Comporium, always ready.
From my first watch I purchased as a teenager, which still runs today, to the diamond ring I surprised my wife with, which she still talks about today. A gift from Norman Hagee is as good as it gets. Whether it's elegant timepieces by Bulova, Caravel, and Bel Air, or ornamental ironwork-inspired Southern Gates collection, or dazzling fine jewelry. A gift from Hagee is backed by over 60 years of family-owned and operated experience. Norman Hagee Jewelers, for gifts as good as it gets.
Saturday, March 14th, celebrate the look of the Irish in Old Town Rock Hill. Come meet leprechauns with Irish wishing coins. Hear free live music. Enjoy food trucks and plenty of beer. And bring the wee ones for all the inflatables. There'll be no blarney at this St. Patty's Day celebration. Join us Saturday, March 14th, 12 to 7 at the Amphitheater in Old Town Rock Hill. It'll be a grand time.
What's the best way to attract a wide variety of beautiful birds to your backyard? By offering the birds the right foods in expertly designed bird feeders from Wild Birds Unlimited. Whether you've been feeding the birds for a while or are just getting started, let our backyard bird feeding specialists show you how to add a little joy to your life and make nature a part of every day. Shop now for exclusive bird foods, feeders, hardware, and more. Wild Birds Unlimited. Products designed by experts. Trusted local advice.
As soon as I contacted Elrod Pope, they handled everything. Without Elrod Pope's help, I'd have been paying hospital bills for years to come. Elrod Pope just took the stress and they put it on their table and took it off mine.
Coming to Elrod Pope, I didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was taken care of. It put me in a real calm state because I had someone on my side. I knew that I was in the right hands. It felt great.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.